Jarrell Miller is a professional heavyweight boxer whose career is one of the most complex and debated stories in modern boxing. Known for his size, pressure-based fighting style, outspoken personality, and major controversies, Miller's journey reflects both the heights a fighter can reach and the consequences of critical mistakes. Born on July 15, 1988, in Brooklyn, New York, Jarrell Miller grew up in an environment that demanded toughness and confidence. Brooklyn has long been a breeding ground for fighters, and Miller embodied that identity from an early age. Life around him was competitive and challenging, shaping his aggressive mindset and survival mentality. From childhood, Miller stood out physically. He was larger and stronger than most of his peers, and he carried himself with natural confidence. Growing up in Brooklyn meant learning quickly how to assert yourself, and Miller did exactly that. He was never a quiet personality, and that boldness would later become one of his defining traits inside and outside the ring. Sports became an outlet for his energy, and combat sports, in particular, suited his temperament and physical build. Before fully committing to boxing, Jarrell Miller explored other fighting disciplines. He competed in kickboxing and mixed martial arts, gaining valuable experience that later shaped his boxing style. These sports helped him develop toughness, endurance, and comfort in high-pressure, physical situations. Kickboxing, in particular, played a major role in building his stamina. Unlike many heavyweights who struggle with conditioning, Miller developed the ability to fight at a high pace for extended periods, a rare trait for someone of his size. Eventually, Miller decided to focus on boxing, believing it offered the best opportunity to maximize his strengths. He turned professional in 2009, entering the heavyweight division without much early hype. At first glance, Miller did not resemble the traditional heavyweight prospect. His physique was bulky rather than lean, and his technique was raw. However, as his career progressed, it became clear that he possessed something unique. He was a heavyweight who could throw punches non-stop without fading, overwhelming opponents through volume and constant forward pressure. As Miller gained experience, his fighting style became more defined. He was not a one-punch knockout artist, nor did he rely on finesse. Instead, he specialized in walking opponents down, backing them up, and forcing them into exhausting battles. His size allowed him to absorb punches, while his stamina enabled him to maintain pressure round after round. Many opponents found it difficult to deal with his relentless pace, and even when fights went the distance, they often left the ring exhausted and beaten mentally. With victories piling up, Miller's confidence grew, and so did his reputation. He began to attract attention not only for his performances but also for his personality. Jarrell Miller was outspoken, confrontational, and unapologetic. He embraced trash talk and thrived in verbal exchanges with opponents. In interviews and press conferences, he spoke with complete confidence, often predicting dominant victories. This attitude made him a polarizing figure, but it also made him impossible to ignore. The nickname Big Baby became closely tied to Miller's identity. While the name sounded playful, it contrasted sharply with his aggressive style in the ring. Miller leaned into the nickname, using it as part of his brand. He understood that boxing was as much about entertainment as it was about competition. Fans either loved his confidence or disliked his arrogance, but his presence always generated attention, which is crucial in the heavyweight division. As his profile rose, Jarrell Miller positioned himself as a serious contender. He defeated several notable opponents and remained undefeated for a significant stretch of his career. His ability to apply constant pressure made him a difficult matchup, especially for fighters who preferred fighting at a slower pace. Miller believed that his stamina would break anyone over time, and he often spoke about drowning opponents with pressure. The defining opportunity of Miller's career came in 2019 when he was scheduled to face Anthony Joshua for the unified heavyweight world titles. The fight was set to take place at Madison Square Garden in New York, making it a massive moment for Miller. For a fighter from Brooklyn, headlining a world title fight in New York was the ultimate achievement. The build-up to the fight was intense, filled with heated trash talk and media attention. Miller confidently promised to overwhelm Joshua, while fans debated whether his pressure style could overcome Joshua's power and athleticism. However, just weeks before the fight, everything collapsed. Jarrell Miller failed multiple drug tests and tested positive for banned substances. the news sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Miller was immediately removed from the fight and faced serious disciplinary action. What should have been the biggest moment of his career turned into its most damaging chapter. He was banned from boxing, and his reputation suffered severe damage. The fallout was devastating. Miller lost not only the fight of a lifetime but also the trust of fans, promoters, and fellow fighters. Critics were unforgiving, questioning his integrity and professionalism. The fact that the fight was scheduled in his hometown made the situation even more painful. Miller publicly admitted his mistakes, but the consequences were unavoidable. In boxing, opportunities at the championship level are rare, and Miller had lost his at the worst possible time. During his suspension, Miller experienced one of the most difficult periods of his life. Watching the heavyweight division move on without him was a harsh reminder of how quickly things can change. Fighters he once viewed as peers were now competing on the biggest stages. Mentally, the setback was enormous. Many believed his career was effectively over, and few expected him to return to relevance. Despite the doubts surrounding him, Miller refused to give up. He continued training during his suspension, determined to make a comeback. His confidence, one of his defining traits, never completely disappeared. While he acknowledged his mistakes, he also believed that his story was not finished. That belief kept him pushing forward even when public opinion was strongly against him. After serving his ban, Jarrell Miller returned to professional boxing. His comeback was met with mixed reactions. Some fans were curious to see if he could still compete, while others remained skeptical. The time away from the ring had affected his sharpness, and the heavyweight division had evolved. Younger, faster fighters had emerged, and the competition was intense. Still, Miller's size and pressure style ensured that he remained a dangerous opponent. In his comeback fights, Miller showed flashes of the fighter he once was. He continued to apply pressure, throw punches in volume, and rely on his physical presence. However, there were also clear signs that age, inactivity, and controversy had taken a toll. His performances were inconsistent, and while he remained competitive, he no longer appeared unstoppable. The margins at the top level of heavyweight boxing are small, and Miller was now fighting uphill. Throughout this phase of his career, Miller's personality remained unchanged. He continued to speak boldly and confront critics head-on. Rather than attempting to completely rebuild his image, he often embraced the role of the villain. He understood that controversy kept him relevant and that fans were still interested in his journey. This approach kept his name in the conversation, even when results were mixed. Outside the ring, Jarrell Miller keeps much of his personal life private. He is active on social media, where he interacts with fans and critics alike. His posts often reflect his confidence and refusal to back down from public scrutiny. Training remains a central part of his life, as he continues to believe that he has unfinished business in boxing. Jarrell Miller's career is frequently described as a cautionary tale. His rise demonstrated how far self-belief, physical gifts, and relentless effort can take a fighter. His fall highlighted how quickly poor decisions can erase years of progress. Boxing is a sport that demands discipline, accountability, and respect, and Miller's story shows what happens when those elements are compromised. In the broader context of heavyweight boxing, Jarrell Miller occupies a unique place. He was never crowned a world champion, but he left a noticeable impact on the division. His pressure-heavy style, exceptional stamina for his size, and durability made him a nightmare matchup for many fighters. His personality added drama and excitement, ensuring that his fights and appearances were rarely dull. As his career continues, Miller represents both unrealized potential and relentless persistence. He came closer than most fighters ever due to a world title opportunity, only to lose it due to his own actions. Yet, he refused to disappear quietly. His willingness to keep fighting, despite criticism and setbacks, speaks to his mental toughness, even if his career remains controversial. Jarrell Miller's story is not one of simple success or failure. It is a complex narrative filled with ambition, mistakes, confidence, regret, and determination. From the streets of Brooklyn to the brink of heavyweight glory, and through scandal to attempted redemption, his journey reflects the harsh realities of professional boxing. It shows how quickly fortunes can change and how unforgiving the sport can be. In the end, Jarrell Miller will be remembered as a heavyweight who had the tools to reach the top and the personality to command attention. His legacy is not defined by championship belts but by the impact he made, the conversations he sparked, and the lessons his career provides. His journey serves as a reminder that opportunity in boxing must always be matched with discipline and responsibility, because without them, even the biggest chances can slip away.